Welcome, everybody, to Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. I'm Jim Williams, your host. Now, over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years, we're going to educate, enlighten, and entertain you in finding out more about the wonderful world of fashion. Now, on Lingerie Lowdown, the website, we know that we have some of the greatest presenters that you're going to find anywhere in the world. And speaking of the world, our presenters come from all four corners of the globe. They represent all body types. They're a very inclusive group of people. We're very proud of the fact that we don't take any advertising from anyone. So our presenters give you their unbiased and honest answers when it comes to showcasing any of the thousands of different items that they showcase right there on Lingerie Lowdown, the website. And if you haven't had a chance to check out our YouTube channel, go out there because we have over 300,000 subscribers who enjoy checking out our presenters. Now, those presenters, we like to showcase them right here on the podcast because, as I said before, not only are they entertaining and they come from the four corners of the globe, but on the podcast, you get a little bit of an idea of who they are as people. And, beyond what you see on Lingerie Lowdown in their presentations and their showcasing of the different items of clothing and how they style them and what they do. It's kind of the thought process behind what they like in fashion, what they don't like in fashion, and what they are like as true people. So we get to know the whole person. We also do the same for a number of the top fashion houses. If you're going to be fashion forward, you got to keep abreast of what is going on here. And one of the great fun things that we get to do at Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, is talk to some of the top fashion houses in the world. We also get to talk to some of the cutting edge fashion houses where, quite frankly, the next superstars in fashion are going to be coming from. You're going to find out about them here as well. This time, however, my dear friends, it's a little different. That's right, a little different. We're going to talk to one of the more established lingerie companies in the business, and specifically hosiery companies in the business. As a matter of fact, Pretty Polly has been around for 100 years. That's right, 100 years. Pretty Polly has been in business. They have been innovators from day one in the amazing field of hosiery. Joining us is Caroline Wright, the hosiery product manager for Pretty Polly. Again, 100 years they've been around. And Caroline, tell us a little bit about Pretty Polly. It's wonderful to have you with us today.
Hi, Jim. It's nice to talk to you. Pretty Polly is celebrating its centenary this year, so it's 100 years old. It's a really special year for us. Pretty Polly was founded in 1919 by two guys who worked at a factory in Nottinghamshire, and it's always been in Nottinghamshire pretty much. Was in actual fact, not many people realise this, was named after a racehorse. It was a really famous racehorse, ran through the 1920s, I believe, and in actual fact there are still Pretty Polly stakes run at certain racecourses in this country even now. Although the Pretty Polly logo for years was a parrot, which was fairly obvious, but as I say, it was named after a racehorse.
I assume the horses do not have to wear their hosiery.
No, not as far as I know. Certainly not Pretty Polly hosiery anyway.
Although it might be a good marketing tool.
It might be, mightn't it? I have to try that now. Stockings for horses. Yeah.
Okay, well, it probably do hold-ups, though, I would think.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. We invented hold-ups.
Wow.
We invented hold-ups in the 1960s, early 1960s, because women got really, really fed up with wearing stockings. And then, of course, during the 60s, the fashions changed and skirts went shorter, and that's when you saw the advent of tights. And Pretty Polly were really innovative around that area. I mean, they've always been innovative, but, particularly in that area, in the development of hold-ups and then tights and one-size tights and, lots of leading innovations like that. One-piece tights, that was another thing that we developed.
It's interesting that you bring that up because in the 60s, beginning with Twiggy and the British invasion, it was the British fashion really kind of ruled the early part of the 60s in that whole mod and hippie movement. So the fact that you were saying that the holdups were invented by Pretty Polly, it really does kind of mesh with what happened in those early 60s.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mary Quant was probably one of the most innovative designers in the 1960s, and she was responsible for bringing in the miniskirt. And of course, stockings and miniskirts just didn't go together, which was one of the reasons that tights were invented. And then as skirts got shorter and shorter, what you wore on your legs became more and more important, because in those days, women didn't go out without their tights on. There was no such thing as a bare leg look like there is today. You know, if you had a short skirt on, you had to wear tights with it. So not only did you go from kind of stockings through to tights, but all of a sudden the tights became colourful, they became patterned. So yeah, they really moved along in line with the kind of development of fashion through the 60s, which went through the most amazing changes. And I think you're absolutely right. I think, you know, England was a leader in fashion in those days. I mean, we still are. But, you know, in those days, we really kind of paved the way for that whole swinging 60s look.
Well, yeah, and, you know, it was all, again, you were talking about it. The funny thing, there was the mini skirts with the different vibrant colors and the patterns and the whole mod generation. It was quite, but, you know, it was revolutionary, as you know, because it drove not just fashion, but it was fashion that was translated into everyday casual wear and business attire.
Yes, it did. It did. I mean, you know, the whole thing kind of became part of everyday culture. I think whereas leading up to that, fashion had been, or high fashion, designer fashion had been something that was really only available to people who had more money, if you like. Whereas in the 60s, the whole development of the London fashion scene, the up-to-date fashion became available to absolutely everybody, and therefore became, yeah, as you absolutely put it, part of everybody's everyday workwear wardrobe, and what they wear all the time. I think it was probably the first introduction of what we would now call streetwear. You know, it's what everybody wears all the time, and tights were a huge part of that. Yeah.
And it's funny because with the advent of television shows like Mad Men and you know, a number of other shows that look back into the 60s, right? You see that fashion is actually making a, you know, renaissance. There's a bit of a comeback for what was, you know, we're looking at what's going on in 2019, and, you know, in the old, everything old is new again. As you guys celebrate your centennial of 100 years, Pretty Polly has pretty much stayed on the cutting edge of fashion, and it continues to be that way in 2019.
Absolutely. I mean, we probably have one of the most extensive fashion ranges of a lot of the hosiery brands out there, actually. And we're always very careful about how we photograph our fashion so that you can clearly see what it looks like when you're wearing it. And we put it in really brightly coloured packs so it stands out when it's in a shop. And actually, you know, our fashion is really, really popular amongst a lot of our export customers as well, because of the look of it. You know, this really kind of young, vibrant feel to it.
What, as I said, as we move into 2019 and beyond, what are some of the fashion trends that you've noted that you feel that as Pretty Polly has evolved, so have these fashions, and what are we looking at in 2019 in the world of fashion?
Well, fashion hosiery comes and goes. It's quite cyclical. You know, we tend to see an increase in the amount of fashion that there is available, and then it'll dip down again, and it'll come back up again, and then it'll dip down again. It's cyclical, like most kind of fashion areas are. But it's recently had a bit of a resurgence, and that started off about 2 years ago, probably, with an increase in the popularity of fishnets. They suddenly came back in a big way. which is really great because then that puts the focus back on legs again. Because, we have very stiff competition with trousers these days. At one time, women didn't wear trousers a great deal. And I know going back probably only about 20 years ago, it wasn't considered appropriate to wear trousers in the workplace. Well, of course, now it is, so probably the biggest competitor for the hosiery market at the moment is trousers. So fishnets are great. They came back and they really put the focus back on legs, and the fashion press really loved them. And that's enabled us to kind of introduce some more fashion hosiery as well. So of late, we've had quite a lot of printed tights in, which has been good for us. That's been quite a new area and has taken off really well. We've put some colour back in there. It's been absolutely fantastic. People have been wearing really, really brightly coloured opaque tights. That's the slightly thicker ones. And we've seen, colours like red and yellow has been one of our most popular selling colours. So reds, yellows, greens, blues. So that's really come back in again. And then also some kind of patterns on sheer tights as well, on the finer tights as well, which give you a slightly more subtle effect, if you like. We're seeing fishnets dipping back down a little bit again at the moment, but there is still some interest in fashion. So at the moment, the ones that we're looking at are tending to be a little bit more lacy, some floral patterns as well. But a good area that's developed for us recently is in the development of what we call fashion anklets. So they're like ankle socks, if you like, but they're not socks in a traditional sense of the word, that they're thicker, less shearer. They're more like hosiery, more like tights. And because you're only wearing a short sock, it enables you to put some really, really pretty patterns, colours, fishnets into there. And they're proving really popular at the moment.
Actually, my wife is a big fan of those.
Oh, yeah?
She is someone who, is a businesswoman. She wears a lot of business suits, which, of course, require that you wear trousers with your outfits. But she likes to throw a little pop in there with the ankle stockings, as you say.
Yeah, we get a lot of women who say that. You're wearing a pair of trousers with a business suit, and you sit down and you cross your legs, and a small part of your ankle shows. So women like to have either a nice pop of colour there, or a little bit of a lacy pattern, or a flower pattern, or even a fishnet.
I'll be back with more of Caroline and Pretty Polly, but first, let's talk a little bit about Lingerie Lowdown, the website. Hey, everybody, let me tell you a little bit about Lingerie Lowdown, the website. Now, we have presenters, as I told you before, who represent all body types, who are from all corners of the globe. They are outstanding people. They are folks who give you their honest and unbiased opinions on every item of clothing they wear. And folks, we showcase thousands of different types of items right there on Lingerie Lowdown, the website. You get to see it with presenters, as we said. They're all body types, so it's quite frankly a very good chance that you're going to see someone who looks a great deal like you right there on Lingerie Lowdown. Now, our presenters are incredible people. They're fun. They're entertaining. They give you everything you need to know about the items they wear. They show you how to accessorize them. They give you everything that you want to know before you go out and buy something. As a matter of fact, what you're going to learn is you're going to learn that some of these things you may want, some of these things you may didn't, before, let's say bodysuits, for instance. You may have thought to yourself, I'm not really a bodysuit kind of a girl, but, I'll check out what they've got. And I'll tell you, even our presenters at times will say, I wasn't really a bodysuit girl until I tried this, and wow, that was fantastic. But, the same thing happens with any number of different items that they try on, because they're honest. They're trying them on in many cases for the first time. They're giving you their unbiased opinion. This, folks, is something that is, as I said, it's educational, but it's entertaining as well, because if there's something wrong, they'll tell you why. And trust me, they don't hold back. If there's something they like about it, you know what? They're going to tell you that. And in some cases, they may say, this doesn't work for me, but it might just work for you. Okay. So look, get your girlfriend a subscription, get your wife your wife and a girlfriend. No, just your wife or your girlfriend. Get your boyfriend a subscription. Buy one for yourself. Okay. Everybody should be subscribed to Lingerie Lowdown because I'm telling you right now, it's a fun site. It's a site where you're going to learn a lot. And if you're into fashion, whether you want to wear something, if you want to be fashion forward, all that stuff is there. But the fun part is that you get to learn from people who are passionate about this stuff, just as passionate as you are, okay? So check it out. Check out lingeриelowdown.com. That's lingeриelowdown.com. All the information will be in the show box below. And I got to tell you right now, we're going to give you a 10% discount. That's right, a 10% discount on our 6 and 12-month membership plans. That's right. All you have to do, we're going to give you a code in a moment. Use that coupon code when prompted and receive 10% off the price of joining for 6 or 12 months. That, my friends, is a deal. So, as I said, I'm going to give you that coupon code in a minute, but you get a 10% discount on our 6 or 12-month membership plans by simply entering the coupon code when prompted, and we'll give you that coupon code right now. Okay, I told you that we're going to have a special deal. Now, here's the special deal. If you enter, when prompted at checkout, the promo code Polly Code, that's POLLYPOD, that's Polly Pod, at checkout, you'll get 10% off our 6 or 12-month subscription. Now that, my friends, is a deal. And all you have to do is enter this promo code when prompted at checkout, and that is Polly, POLLY, Pod, POD, one word. Do that when you're prompted at checkout, and you'll get 10% off a subscription, either a 6-month or a 12-month subscription to Lingerie Lowdown, the website. And that, my friends, is one heck of a deal. So by all means, join our family here at Lingerie Lowdown. We'd love to have you. Guarantee you that you'll have a lot of fun. The site is magnificent, as I told you before. So by all means, take advantage of our 10% discount one more time. The promo code this week for Lingerie Lowdown's 10% discount on a 6 or 12-month subscription is PollyPod. So use PollyPod when prompted at checkout, and you'll get a 10% discount on a subscription to Lingerie Lowdown, the website, either a 6 or 12-month subscription. So do it today, okay? Let's go back and chat more with Caroline Wright from Pretty Polly. It's funny. I asked one of the presenters about this, and she said, "Well, you wear socks. Men have a affinity for wearing different styles of socks, and some of them can be outrageous, and some of them can be more, traditional, if you will." She goes, "There's no reason why women can't wear socks."
No, absolutely.
So,
and it just adds that extra bit of interest, business suits traditionally tend to be quite plain, so to have something a little bit more exciting going on is nice.
Right. Well, it's like, as I said, it's like wearing a tie or a pair of socks or, suspenders. I mean, you tend to want, from a male standpoint, that's where you can get your personality into it. Is to wear a pair of loud socks or something that's totally outrageous, or a tie or something like that. But, as you say, I mean, women who now wear trousers quite a bit as part of the business attire can put a little bit of personality into that.
Absolutely right. And also it's bringing younger wearers into the hosiery market as well, and and getting them to look at hosiery in a slightly different light. And actually fishnet tights have done that as well. There's been a massive trend in the UK for wearing ripped jeans. So your jeans are ripped across the knee or across the top of your leg. And part of that trend was to wear fishnet tights underneath. So for us, that's an absolutely fantastic trend, because it brings a younger consumer into the hosiery market, and hopefully introduces them to Pretty Polly as well.
And it also brings a bit of personal style to it.
Yes, absolutely. And not only, and also a trend for them showing above the waistband of the tights as well, which it's just been a really, really good look.
How did you guys get involved with Lingerie Lowdown?
I think we were approached by Lingerie Lowdown a little while ago. We've done quite a little bit of work with Scott now, and he's really great to work with. We do some very specific projects with him. So, for example, on Valentine's Day, we worked and put together a range of products that we thought would be appropriate for Valentine's, and then we sent them out to Scott's reviewers. So we either work like that, or he will select specific products off our website and give them to his reviewers to try. But it's a really, really good way of working. I mean, of absolute importance to Pretty Polly is the satisfaction of our wearers. There's no point selling anybody a product that's not satisfactory. So to be able to get good constructive feedback from the reviewers is great. We had a girl recently who tried one of our products. And the thing I like about them is that they don't just put the tags on and say, yeah, these are great, or no, they're not, or they don't fit, or whatever. They actually sit and look at the pack and say, oh, I really like this pack because it shows me what the product's going to look like, etc., etc. Or even we had one girl recently who very clearly said that something that we'd put on the back of the pack was slightly misleading. That's fantastic feedback, because it's something that we've either missed, or it's quite difficult as an industry insider. You get used to the language that you speak, and you forget that it's not always the same as the language the consumer speaks. So it's really good to have somebody say, actually, that's not what that means to me. That means something different. So yeah, it's fantastic to get the feedback, and if it's a criticism, then we take it on the chin and do something about it.
Well, I think any of us who are in business want honest feedback, because it's the only way you know. And if these people, yeah, exactly. And if these people who are presenters, right, who are models, who put and take on and take off all different types of hosiery, if they are having problems with it and they are not liking it, how can the average person translate and enjoy it?
Absolutely. So no, it's a really, really good facility for us to have, to say, well, we've got these products, we can send them out there and they can give us honest feedback on the products. No, we appreciate any type of feedback. We take it very seriously.
What are some of the things on Pretty Polly that are selling that you were surprised about?
Something that I'm surprised about. The coloured opaques took me by surprise, actually. The brightly coloured thick tights. I knew that they were quite popular, but you tend to get kind of levels of popularity. You'll see something quite a lot in the fashion press, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's translating down into what people are wearing all the time.
Right.
And we'd seen a lot of it about, but I was surprised how much that the consumers related to those. We've sold a lot more of those than I actually expected to. And I was really quite surprised that yellow was the most popular colour. I could have understood maybe red or the blue ones perhaps, but I was surprised that yellow was the most popular colour. It can look absolutely great. It can look great.
Surprisingly, yellow has an ability to really pop.
Yeah. And it's not a really bright canary yellow. It's got a slightly kind of mustardy tinge to it. So if you team it with the right accessories and the right clothes, it looks amazing.
Yeah, and it's not one of those.
Probably caught me by surprise.
It's also one of those colors that isn't like in your face. It's not like a bold color, but is in an understated way, it does make a statement.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And of course, the great thing about a pair of tights is that you can show as much or as little of them as you like. You put a pair of yellow tights on with a pair of knee-length boots and a skirt, you're not seeing a massive amount of yellow. So you can kind of really play it up or play it down depending on how bold you want to be.
Right. All right. You're my expert. Okay. Caroline, I need you to help. And we have many listeners out here. What are some staples, some things that women should have in their wardrobe that you feel that, if they're going to shop at Pretty Polly, these are 3 or 4 things they are must-haves in their wardrobe for every day, for going out, for, casual wear, whatever. but these are 4 or 5 things that are must-haves.
Okay, I would always say that you should have sheer tights in your wardrobe. You should always have sheer tights. You know, they are the most versatile hosiery you can wear. Now, whether you are a skin tone wearer or a black wearer or even both, you know, to have a really, really nice quality pair of sheer black and nude tights, to me, is an absolute must. We do a product called Nylons, which actually is probably one of our longest selling sub-ranges and was launched as a yarn innovation, but I won't go into the detail about it. It's a bit technical, but it gave you a really, really beautifully elegant gloss look on legs, and was launched, I think, in about 1989 as a modern take on the old nylons, the old post-war nylons. So they're really, really beautiful sheer gloss types available in black, nude, and other colours. So something like that. We do another product range actually, which is called Day to Night, which gives you a beautiful sheer matte look on leg if you're not a gloss lover. And the Day to Nights are great because they come in individually bagged. So there's 3 pairs of tights in a box, so you can put a spare pair in your handbag, which is fantastic. So I would always say you should have a good sheer in your wardrobe, be that gloss or a matte. The other thing is a pair of opaque tights. A good pair of so opaque tights are the thicker tights. So a good pair of opaque tights. Vast majority of people wear opaque tights in black, but they're also available in some really lovely other colours as well. So you get really nice navy, really nice burgundy. But to have a good quality pair of opaque tights in your wardrobe is an absolute essential. And opaques, like anything else, vary in quality. We do a range of what's known as 3D opaques. So you get a very, very smooth, even appearance on the leg, and they fit beautifully as well. So they're always the slightly better ones to buy. So I would say they were the 3 key essentials. It's always good to have some knee highs and ankle highs for if you're trouser wearing. And again, the same principles apply. You know, have a good pair of sheers and a good pair of opaques. So those are the essentials, I would say. And then, you know, trend it up a little bit with some good fashion tights, depending on the sort of thing that you like to wear. And then equally, if you're a stockings wearer or a hold-up wearer, same thing again, you know, sheers or opaques.
It's funny. You said earlier in that answer about, you know, having a second pair to toss in, you know, to your bag to go with you. I think universally, almost every presenter I have spoken to, when I ask them for some fashion advice, every one of them to a person says, never leave without a second pair of tights.
No.
Do not.
Not if you're wearing sheer hosiery.
No, do not leave, you know, without it, because chances are good that something during the course of the day is going to cause havoc, and you need to have that backup.
Yeah. Most people don't appreciate how delicate the yarn that makes up a pair of tights is. It's very, very, very fine. It's incredibly durable, actually, considering how fine it is. But, you know, tights are very easy to snag, very easy to catch. You should always try and have a pair of tights that has a slightly higher elastane content in it. Because the more elastane you have, the better fitting the tight and the less likely you are to snag it.
Now, I know that Pretty Polly also sells a number of other items that aren't hosiery. Talk a little bit about some of your fashion line.
You mean in hosiery or in lingerie?
Lingerie and hosiery if you like, but you do have other items. Lingerie, I just want to make sure that people know that tights and hosiery are fantastic, but you also offer a few other items as well.
We do. We sell lingerie as well. So we do some really, really nice coordinating sets that are updated seasonally on our website. So we do really, really lovely matching bras and briefs. And then we also do some knicker packs as well. So they're really good value, 3-pair packs of knickers that are great. And they're really, really good value, really pretty designs, quite appealing to a younger consumer.
So let's talk for a second about where people can find your products.
We're widely stocked amongst a number of UK retailers, but we also have our own website at www.prettypolly.co.uk, where you can find our full range of hosiery and lingerie. And we also have lots of other things going on the website. So, for example, for the Centenary, there's a really great Centenary timeline on there. And also you can click on and go and look at some of our old TV ads, look at all the celebrities that we've worked with over the years. And we regularly have promotions that go on the website. We've got a blog that runs on the website as well. And we quite often run competitions as well. There's some good competitions going on for the Centenary.
So you have, so we will put the website in the show box, but folks from the United States and worldwide can access the website and purchase from you.
They can. Yes, they can. Yes.
And we encourage it. So by all means,
definitely
check out the show box, because we will have all that information on Pretty Polly down there. Any last words that you'd like to talk about? Anything that is coming up at Pretty Polly that we should know about?
For this year, it's just carrying on our Centenary celebrations. As I said, we've got lots going on our website. We've got some great things going on with a lot of our retailers. We have retailers that we've worked with for very many years, who are helping to promote our Centenary as well.
Well, we definitely will make sure that everybody has a chance to do that. Caroline, thank you so much for joining us, and we really appreciate it. We're going to make sure everybody knows where to get Pretty Polly. As I said, all that information is going to be in the show notes below. And don't be a stranger. If you have some more information you want to get across, please let us know.
I will do it. It's been good talking to you. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. We'll be back with more of Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. But first, this from BMW, the i3, the perfect electric driving machine.
Life is about making decisions. At BMW i, we decided it was time to reinvent the car from the ground up, making sure we were open for truly innovative ideas. We decided that the car we wanted must be electric, and it should be made of extremely light and super strong carbon fiber. And finally, we decided to make it more intelligent and added our promise of incomparable driving pleasure. We made all these decisions to offer you a choice. The all-electric BMW i3.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Now, if you're not one of the over 35,000 people who have taken the time to subscribe to Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, we make it simple to do. It is free. That's right. You can find us at the iTunes store, where we're part of the Apple Podcast family. You can find us at Google Play, where we are part of the Google Podcast family. You can find us on Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, as well as TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and, of course, YouTube. Now, if for some reason you can't seem to find us, pull out the old Google machine, type in Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, hit the favorite button or the subscribe button. Every 2 weeks, you get a brand new edition of the podcast sent directly to your phone, to your tablet, or to both. Okay, so by all means, what we want you to do is go out and subscribe today. We greatly appreciate it. Now, if you have one of the assistant devices like Alexa or Google, or as you know, the Apple, all of the Apple products answer to the name Siri. If you say, hey, Siri, or Google, or in my case, Alexa, please play the latest edition of Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. They'll do it for you. So, folks, we cannot make it any simpler for you to join the party. So, by all means, check us out every 2 weeks. It's delivered directly to your phone or to your tablet, or hopefully to both. Okay. Special thanks this week to Caroline Wright, the Hosiery product manager, for the British brand, Pretty Polly. They've been in business for 100 years. As of this year, we wish them 100 more. And Caroline was an outstanding guest. A lot of great info in the podcast today. We thank Caroline for joining us. We thank Pretty Polly for joining us as well. Okay, everybody. It's been a lot of fun. Hope that you've enjoyed it as much as we had. For the staff and team here at Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, I'm Jim Williams saying we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for yet another edition of the podcast. This time we're going to have a fun guest. All right. We're going to have a presenter, and I'm not going to tell you right now, but I will tell you this much, give you a clue. The presenter we're going to have is from Canada. Now, if you know a little bit about our podcast, that could be any one of 3 or 4 young ladies. So all of them are quite entertaining and quite a good interview. So we're going to go north of the border here in the United States to Canada. And next time around, we're going to have one of our Canadian presenters join us right here on the podcast. So that's our little, that's the only clue you're going to get. Okay. You will have to wait and see, but in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have one of our Canadian presenters right here as a guest on the podcast. So join us in 2 weeks' time. Look, only a little bit left of summer, so get out there and enjoy it. Go to the beach, go to the lake, go to the mountains, whatever is good for you, even if it's just stay at home and chill out. That's cool too. We will see you in 2 weeks' time. So until that time, I'm Jim Williams for the team here at Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, saying have a great rest of the summer. We'll see you in a fortnight. Take care.
She likes fashion.